Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Butcher's Circus, and today we are going to be playing every single variation of SHEP Stress. Now that's not entirely true, because if I were to play every single variation of SHEP Stress, this video would not end today, because technically they're infinite. But here we are with SHEP Stress number 1, we're gonna go between number 1 to 5. Them being infinite is kinda like the beam, you know, because everything is SHEP Stress, essentially. You just put a flagellant on it. If it has flagellant, it's essentially going to be a variation of the SHEP Stress, but the basis of it is having the flagellant, the man-at-arms, and the abomination. And just because these teams are called SHEP Stress does not mean I made them. I only made the first one, which is the one with the doggy. I used this, like, at the very second tournament that ever happened in the Butcher Circus, all the way back in 2020. Of course, I used it completely differently. I was an absolute buffoon with it. It was terrible. It was really terrible. I also didn't call it SHEP Stress. I wasn't even Shep back then. I was Cetra, and I called it the Kepra Guard, which is a reference to Warhammer Fantasy with the Doom Kings. I really like the Warhammer Fantasy sometimes. I'm not that much into it anymore, but this match has not been going too well for my man-at-arms. I had a bit of a decision to make. Either I move forward, or I don't, and kind of let my man-at-arms die. So that was my decision that I could make. I think that I made definitely the interesting one if not moving forward, because when you deal with target whistle, there's going to be a lot of protection debuff. I also don't have the guard on this man-at-arms because I've decided to change it out for the retribution. So overall, he's pretty much not going to be very easy to survive with. SHEP Stress number 1, at least the way I play it, is much more aggressive than all the other SHEP Stresses. There's no reclaim on the flagellant. There's just one dot trinket on the Houndmaster. The abomination doesn't have any defense. The man-at-arms is here pretty much just to drop a command buff, sometimes a bolster, and then just spam bellow, and just be as aggressive as possible, and just have insane amounts of stress and DOT output, as well as decent, just built-in tankiness. I'm not trying to have like a support Arbalest to make my team kind of difficult to kill. I'm just having, you know, Flagellant being Flagellant with the Gauntlet of Absolution and all that, and just seeing if that works. So my opponent passes, so I will pass as well. I will pass with Flagellant, and hopefully that was just a bit of a hiccup. Maybe their mom called and they had to... well, walking the dog wouldn't work because that would take way longer than one round, but, you know, maybe that happened. They pass, we don't mind. And they go for the bull there. They passed with their most important turn, actually, which was with the musketeer. I passed with not that important of a turn, so maybe I should have passed with the doggy there, but oh well, what can you do? Yeah, in terms of SHEP Stress 1 through 5, basically 1 has the doggy, 2 has the antiquarian, 3 is the grave robber, 4 is the occultist, in the back of always and obviously, and 5 is the arbalest, which is the most offensive one, which is a very long way from now, but that's actually the one I'm looking forward to playing the most, because I haven't played it in a while, like, you know, since I came back pretty much. And 1 through 4 are pretty much the same thing, except, you know, instead of a dog you have an occultist, so yeah, your stress output's a little bit different, and 2 and 3 are very similar because the Antiquarian and Grave Robber play very similarly. They have good amounts of dodge. If you pull them, they just go Shadow Fade or take cover, and then they do Stress with Blight. You know, it's pretty much the same thing every single time. They just work a teeny tiny bit differently when it comes to the matchups and all that. So yeah, in terms of how this match is going, my opponent does not have all the trinkets. That should be said here. But they immediately went for the target whistle, and that's when I pressed the record button, because I was like, okay, you know what, that's actually a good move. If they're going for the target whistle, they might know what they're doing. And yeah, they're able to get the death blow here with the Houndsary. That was the only way they had of getting the death blow, because they didn't have the stabilizing tiller or the iron sights on the musketeer or the arbalest, which usually let you bypass the guard if the character is marked, but, you know, since you don't have them, you wouldn't be able to. The only way they'd be able to is with the Houndsary, and they get it at the second try. Yeah, they get it at the second try, which is a bit lucky. It's definitely a bit lucky, especially considering... No, it wouldn't have dealt 0 damage. It actually couldn't have dealt 0 damage, but it is still a bit lucky. But in terms of how the match is going, even though I've lost the character, not too early, it's already round 3, start of round 3. Even though I've lost the character, I've dealt a significant amount of DOT to my opponent's side, I've dealt a very significant amount of stress, and it's just gonna keep on rising. I'm gonna drop another transform, it's gonna go crazy. My opponent goes for the quick draw because... You know, this is kind of like the Howlers, except it's built a bit weird. Yeah, definitely a bit on the weird side for the Howlers, but yeah, it has kind of a problem, which is when these two are in positions 2 and 3, and you know, they just they can't both shoot unless they're both in the backline. And the easiest way to disrupt them isn't actually to go for the pull, it's to just go for the push on the character that's in position 2, and that's exactly what I did. And it has been working out very well so far. So they did a lot of damage to my Abomination. I kind of wanna pay it back here if possible. I might drop it on the Bounty Hunter just to lower his HP by a significant margin, but I could also... not Rake. Not Rake. I need to do damage here. I need to do damage. I just need to choose the character. I think it's going to be the Bounty Hunter. I could have gotten a really, really juicy crit, but just this is good enough as well. Because in like 2 Harrys, he's going to be dropping to this store, and that's exactly what I want. So I don't click here with the Abomination. I don't click here with the Flatulent. I want each of them to have their heals available to them. My opponent doesn't have stun, so I'm just going to go for the Harry. Calls 2-3 afflictions once she acts. 4 afflictions actually by round 4, so not too shabby. Usually it's by round 3 that you get 4 afflictions, but you need to be really aggressive. Yeah, you definitely need to be really aggressive. No guarding turns, no defensive turns. Actually, Shep, didn't you break one of the principles of SHEP Stress #1, which is never to use guard dog unless strictly necessary? I did. You should always say, but you know, in that just this one tiny situation, it was better not to. So here I think I'm actually going to just preemptively redeem, even though that's going to put me dazed, and the Bounty Hunter can and the Bounty Hunter can try to exploit that. He still has one of the Bellow debuffs that I dropped earlier. And, well, you know, I have 10 prot and now I have 36 HP as well. My Abomination is back to being healthy. They can go for the Hound's Rush here, but it's gonna miss because it's a garbage ability. And I think I'm actually just gonna go for the Rake, as weird as it looks. I don't have to I can't detransform Bile here because I'm out of position with all the moving around that happened. So if I detransform here, I'm either just gonna go for Manacles, which at this point, I mean, it could be good, but I'd rather drop the characters down to 0, make them eat more horror, make them eat more stress from being at this store, and make them more vulnerable to my Hound's area as well. Surprising that the Bounty Hunter does that much damage with the finish him. I guess he does have the Jack Chopper. There was some interesting math with the finish him, wasn't there? That the plus 30% dazed versus dazed only increased like the max damage and not the minimum damage, and that's why it was kind of whack. Or maybe it was plus 30% minimum damage, plus 60% maximum damage. Yeah, it's because it's whack the damage rolls he gets on that. He gets like 9 to 21. it is definitely on the insane side of things. So I'm gonna go for the Hound's area here, double death blow. A crit on the Musketeer as well, and yeah, it's a disaster for my opponent. Once his front line is gone, it's GG. I mean, she does have balls, she does have quick draw, but she shoots the Musketeer down to 0 as well. Yeah, no, there's really not too much my opponent can do here. It's honestly not their fault, you know. I have to be honest here. It is not even their fault. It's just the fact that I'm playing with all the goody trinkets that I managed to keep the men-at-arms alive for like 2 turns longer than he should have, because I was greedy and it paid off, and you know, it's just really sad for my opponent. So I guess I could be even greedier here and not go for the kill and just go aggressive, and I will just win this torture a bit faster because my opponent can't win anyway. If they get a kill on my Flagellant, I don't really care. I'm not the kind of person that goes, oh no, I lost 2 characters that match, so it was less of a victory than it would be otherwise. It wasn't a perfect victory. No, that doesn't exist. It's a victory. This isn't a base game where you have to optimize your wins and, you know, all those shenanigans. In the circus, either you win or you lose. That's all that counts. That is all that counts. Doesn't matter if you only have one character left that's almost dead. That's something I actually didn't like too much about the base game, is that you were very desensitized from killing your characters. Maybe no, maybe that's not how I should explain it, but sacrificing your characters was never really an option. Yeah, apart from like escaping with the team. Sacrificing your characters and just going on with the dungeon was always bad. Your main goal would be to always save the characters, and I mean, I guess that makes sense. They're all human and they're all trying to survive. I'm kind of comparing this a little bit to Erratus, because in Erratus or the Dead, which is like similar to Darkest Dungeon, but you're the bad guys essentially, you can use like one of your characters as an ability to like sacrifice another character and then become super strong, and of course that wouldn't make any sense in Darkest Dungeon, but I wish it was something like that. You know, something like that. If you have less characters in your team, then your own character becomes stronger. That does exist in modded trinkets, but you know, that's modded trinkets. But anyway, let's go for match number 2. Alright, and here we go straight into a match number 2 with SHEP Stress number 2, and I must say already that out of the bunch, this is the one that I've had the most troubles with. I don't really enjoy it. It's given me a lot of difficult moments during tournaments. I say that as the first round goes very well, but it has given me a lot of trouble because the Antiquarian is just really a weird character, because her Festering Vapors can be very underwhelming compared to both the Panic Darts and the Houndsary, and her defense is often not enough to deal with the enemy's Houndsary and the enemy's Festering Vapors or the occultist stuff that it can do. So it still works, it's still quite decent, but it feels a bit tricky to use. Definitely a bit on the trickier side, but that's okay. I'm playing it a bit more defensive here. I have Tears of the Lost Black Diamond Mirror, so my regen can be good, and it will be good in this situation. I can tell you that much already. And I don't think... do I bolster round 1? You know what, I'm gonna bolster here. It is odd, but my opponent doesn't really have any accuracy buffs. They have some trinkets, but I feel like overall this plus dodge minus stress taken is gonna be helpful. I was thinking either I bolster or I go for the command, and I could command here, but I want to drop regen with the Antiquarian anyways, and I want to go Reign of Sorrows anyways, but the backline doesn't have that much dodge, so I can probably get away with it and not dropping the command this very turn. Also because the Abomination is still stunned, so that would just be a waste on him. So my opponent actually goes with the take cover, so the Leper is now in position. That is quite wise of them to do so, and I think in response to that I will probably just drop the Rejuvenating Vapors already. Maybe they go for the Flash Rod. I'm imagining they go for the Abomination here, but even if they do that, I still have the Guard. I have Numbing Instance, which in this situation does actually matter, because their Blackjack with the Brass Knuckles has only a 30% chance to get the stun, because I did bring the Numbing Instance and the Rancid Cure-All. If you have regen on your Antiquarian and you're trying to stack it, DOT is going to be your biggest weakness, so if you can kind of mitigate it a little bit on the character that's going to be eating the most amount of DOT, you know, the one that's easiest to hit, and then the Rancid Cure-All can definitely be a good trick. At my opponents, that's close. Oh, they shoot, okay. Yeah, that was quite close. They're struggling. They're definitely struggling on what to do there. I could have gone for a punish on the Leper. That was also an idea. Probably should have gone for a punish on the Leper. Let's be honest here, but you know, it's okay. It is okay. They go for the Troll. They do 21 damage. Surprised they hit. A little bit surprised. They do have a lot of accuracy on there, but I have the regen going here. That's good for me. I could click here, but then I'll be sort of at risk, but not really. So let's just drop Rejuvenating Vapors again. I would like to drop the bell, but I will likely need my guard turn for this Abomination, and this is just what this match is going to be about, because I have definitely brought a more defensive version of the SHEP Stress, so I'm just going to keep the Abomination alive with the guard most likely, and everything's going to turn out a-okay. Even if they go for the Sniper Shot here on the Antiquarian, I don't think they will do enough damage. They have plus 20% here, but yeah, they just whiff. Unfortunate, you know, the bolster plus the Black Diamond mirror, it does do that. And I could go for a preemptive guard, but is there really a need to do that? Then they could just go for the flagellant. I could just go for the bellow here as well, but I feel like I don't have enough prot to justify a bellow in this situation, so I'm just gonna go for the Rain of Stars again. This time I hit the Arbalist, and I do hit the bleed as well, but the Antiquarian keeps dodging. Yeah, just, you know, Crimson Hook. I love the Crimson Hook. I love the Gauntlet of Absolution, but sadly the accuracy is really lacking on this poor little flagellant. It's still too much. 95 accuracy for Rain of Stars is still too much base, in my opinion. But, you know, that's a discussion for another video. We're going to be seeing a lot of the flagellant for today, so... Die has terrible name, says my opponent's name, actually. They go for the blackjack on the men at arms, which is really odd. I don't understand why they do that. Because they're going to fail it. Oh, of course, they are going to fail it. It's not going to help them out too much. And I guess over here I'm just going to drop the guard. I do get to go first next round anyway, but I highly doubt they're able to do too much damage to my flagellant. At least you won't be able to burst them down to 0, even with a crit chop. I don't imagine you burst them down to 0 through the 10 prot. And you're going to be dropping the Rejuvenating, which I also don't like, because it's really not going to help them. I am a stress team. I do DOT as well. I do a fair amount of DOT actually, with Beast Smile, Festering, Grain of Sorrows, Punish. But, you know, I still think it's gonna turn out too well for them if they just try to regen and heal their way through this. Definitely won't. It's funny that they have an event on the Antiquarian. It's kind of like the discount Years of the Lost. It's a hell of a lot worse. It's borderline useless, honestly, but... You know, actually let's compare it. So it gives minus 15% stress take, and this one gives minus 15 as well. It gives 5% less virtue chance, it gives 5% less debuff resist, and it doesn't give the restoration duration. So it is straight up a worse trinket than the Tears of the Lost. There is absolutely no advantage to bringing it, and this is quite rare. Usually there's some advantage, because if you look at this, we actually have a really similar setup, except they have the normal trinkets and have the good ones. And the Monkey Spot does have an advantage. It has that extra 8 accuracy, and while they both have plus stress take, this one has a bit of crits received chance, but honestly you don't notice that most of the time anyway, so who cares about it. I think here this is just gonna be a battle turn. I'm going to reduce that Arbalist damage, so even if she does hit, which isn't too likely, she won't one-shot me, and even if she does one-shot me, I still have to regen. So this is just what the team is trying to do, and it's gonna hurt a lot if you have a damage team that's not very well optimized. The reason I don't usually play this team, even when I go defensive, it's not that I just love to go offensive on my stress teams, which I do, but I can be defensive as well. I can do that, but the team that I like to be defensive with is with the Arbalist. I really like the SHEP Stress number 5, and once again I mentioned that in the first match, but yeah, I do very much like it because I saw it in the previous tournament, one I didn't participate in, the one where Stormy and Silac were like duking it out, and Stormy brought that one, and it was just amazing. The team was able to stay strong against all the stuns and all the Arbalist shots and all the Crusader shenanigans. The team just really works quite well, and even when you go against other stress teams, it's not a guaranteed chance of losing, because, you know, the Arbalist still has her own capabilities. She's quite a good character, which, you know, isn't a surprise to anyone, is it? If she's good in damage teams, she's probably going to be good in stress teams as well. It's not just the sniper shot that's good on her, everything is. Everything really is that good on her. She's also super hard to disrupt. Yeah, just such a solid character that you have. She's balanced in stress teams, she's not balanced in damage teams. She's a tiny bit too strong, a teeny tiny bit too strong in my opinion. So the guard is gonna go away, but at this point I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna drop the bellow. I don't think the prot goes away though. Yeah, it doesn't, it's fine. And I do cause an affliction here. I also cause a bellow debuff, which is great, and is selfish. So yeah, that Arbal's gonna be feeling horrible. She has to go for the flare here, or else this leper is just tickling. It's already at minus 40, she's already at minus 40. And this is just what Bell does. It's strong. You know, these are the kind of teams that Bell ruins, which is quite rare these days because the Arbalist usually just eats one Bell but still one-shots you anyway. But she did in this situation, mind you, with practically no damage string, because she still one-shot my anti-car and she did 33 damage. Oh, that's not a one-shot, Shep. Yeah, come on. I have the regen here. I'm just gonna go for the Rain of Sorrows, kind of just pressuring this backline a little bit here, trying to make the anti-current go afflicted. Usually you drop Rain of Sorrows enough to bring the backline down to 0 and make them afflicted as well, and then you swap to Punish. If you're already stacking too much duty on the backline, then you should switch to Punish, but honestly that's an issue that doesn't really affect me too much, because your opponent doesn't really want you to be spamming Rain of Sorrows to the point that your backline is already beyond dead, so it's not too likely that you're gonna find yourself in a situation like that. But they're just spamming Flash Powder here. They're really scared of the riposte. There's no accuracy buffs on it. It's a garbage riposte at this point, but I mean, my opponent respects it, so you know what can they do, right? They're respecting it. It's a misplay. They're really doing nothing against my team. Borderline nothing. They've dealt 14 stress to my Abomination. It wasn't the Abomination doing stress to himself because he was stunned. But yeah, they've dealt 14 stress there. They've dealt a teeny tiny bit of damage. Oh, some accuracy debuffs, which aren't gonna matter anyway. I could just command, right? I could just command. Yeah, they have L debuffs here. That's not gonna hurt. Yeah, it's for 9. My riposte does half the damage your chop does, and applies blight and applies stress. Yeah, you really don't want to be my opponent here. So I could actually rage to make the Arbalist go down to 0 earlier, or I could rage on the Leopard to make him go down to 0 earlier after I drop the Beast Pile here. So he's gonna have to spend a couple turns going for that Solemnity. I could have gone for the Bile there again, but 99% of the time I just like transforming twice when I have a chance. Even if that means my own death, I like to transform twice, because for example, if there's a bounty hunter on the enemy team and you're like, oh, I have my Abomination turn now, I could go for the Absolution and save myself and then transform next turn and still be alive. Or I could just transform immediately, potentially die, but make sure the transformation goes through. And majority of the time it's gonna be better, because then you're gonna be stunned. You might be shot and then killed anyway, despite your healing. And that transformation with the Wretch's Cloak is just too darn good to pass up on. It causes so much stress. It's unfair. It really is unfair. You can't dodge it. There's nothing you can do about it. Buffs yourself. It is just broken, and you get it for free too. You just transform, and then you still do a normal move, which is always gonna be good. It's you get to have your cake and eat it, essentially. This move would still be good if all you managed to do was transform, and that's it. If that's all there was to transform, it would still be a meta move. Maybe the Abomination wouldn't be as good. I mean, obviously, 24. Obviously, you wouldn't be as good, but it would still be a fantastic move to have, because it just does too much stress. But you get to do that, and then you get to use the melee mode, which is quite nice. Do I think that would be a good nerf, a good healthy nerf for the Abomination, to make it so he can't transform and then do something? No, I think that would be ridiculous. If you did want to do that, you'd have to make it so he can de-transform, do something, and then not daze himself. Then maybe it would still be balanced, but it would just be silly and really unfun. Yeah, really unfun. And that's something that actually has to count into game balance as well, at least in my opinion. The game has to be fun. It can't just be like everything is perfectly balanced at the expense of the player's enjoyment. Nothing is fun anymore. The game is just complete boredom, because every team is like Immortal Musketeer versus Immortal Musketeer, and you know, everything's perfectly balanced. The person that wins is a complete coin flip. It's a 50-50, but they have to play perfectly the entire 40 rounds, and fun is just thrown out the window, and I disagree with that. I think fun is maybe not the most important part in game balance, but one of them for sure. So I want to drop the Rain of Sorrows here, make her go afflicted, but she doesn't. She dodges. She keeps dodging. I even went command buff to counter that Flash Powder debuff. I guess it did matter in the end. I suppose it did matter. The Arbalist lives, but honestly, even if my opponent like kills my Abomination here somehow by getting a blackjack, game bug to hit for 9, and then I'm dazed and I forget that I have a guard. Even if all that happens, I don't think my opponent can still win here, so let's skip along to the end. And there we go, my opponent surrenders, so their Arbals just died from too much stress, their Laper got hit with a punish, there was really not too much they can do, and they finally go down, so let's go for SHEP Stress number 3. Alright, and here we go, straight into a match number 3, this time with the Grave Robber. So Stormy, you can drop your like and your comment now. And yeah, here we are, and it is also a defensive one. I do like to play this team a little bit more defensively, but we're gonna start off the exact same way. Transform, slam the Leopard. Do we get the push? We don't, so maybe my opponent still has a chance. This might be the first team I played when I got into the Butcher Circus. I think it was Leper, Hireman, Plague Doctor, Vestal. I think it was exactly this. So funny story, the way I got into the Butcher Circus was actually because of a Spanish guy, or rather a Spanish professor that I used to play Warhammer Fantasy with, and we both played Darkest Dungeon in the past, and he told me, yo, Darkest Dungeon now has a multiplayer, and I was like, oh god, I'm really not interested, because I was completely done with Darkest Dungeon. But because I'm the kind of person to go against my own desires just to make other people happy, I do that sometimes. Just because of that, I thought, you know what, let's just give it a little try, so he stops annoying me with it. And that's exactly what I did, and you know, here I am. I got into it and I was like, wow, this is actually really fun. And you know, here I am making a video at 1 in the morning because I just got too many novices. And I don't really want to showcase matches against novices who I know are going to lose, because that's not fun for me, that's not fun for you, that's not fun for the novice, really not fun for anyone in the audience up here. But yeah, the way I do bring this team is Grave Robber, full dodge, Man-at-Arms. I bring Protector, Sky-Numbing Instance because I might guard. There is a very decent chance I guard the Abomination, so at least I might make my guard last a bit longer, since there's such a decent chance I go for it. The Abomination is going to have to repulse Trinket, so he can kind of fend for himself a little bit if I can go for that repulse. And the Flagellant now has to be the support of the team. He really has to be the support here. And so for that I bring the Reclaim and I bring the Exotic Snuff, so I am able to get those regens off. So de-transform, Bile, damage buff because of the transformation, plus 20% damage buff because of the Spike Chain. So sadly I don't get a crit with either the Slam nor the Bile, but if they try hitting into him, things would still be good for me, because they're gonna eat a repulse for like 6, which is nice, and if it crits it's gonna be a lot better. So in terms of the trinkets themselves, you might be wondering, well Shep, there's actually 2 Grave Robber dodge trinkets and the Monkey's Paw, so she actually has more choice than every single other dodge character in terms of what you can bring. And that is completely true. And the thing is, she has a couple choices. She has the Satchel of Dirty Tricks, which is the one that I don't have here. The Satchel of Dirty Tricks gives her 10 accuracy, 4 dodge, 20% blight skill chance, and 10% stressed out. So 10 accuracy, very good for the panic darts. 4 dodge, you know, decent. 20% blight skill chance, you know, blight skill chance, you know, make it guaranteed on everyone, even a Plague Doctor. And plus 10% stressed out is always good, right, because you're going to be using it with panic darts. Then if that trinket's so good, why do you not bring it, Shep? Because it only has 4 dodge, and when I play with the Grave Robber in this team, I want to have the maximum amount of dodge possible. So I bring Monkey's Paw and I bring Leather Bandolier. Now I had a huge argument once actually against someone named Blazin, and they said that I was a buffoon for running Leather Bandolier and Monkey's Paw, that you always had to run Satchel of Dirty Tricks. The choice was between Leather Bandolier or the Monkey's Paw, and the reason they thought that's because, you know, if you go for a Panic Darts onto an Abomination, or if you go for a Panic Darts onto a Plague Doctor, or, you know, you always want to have that accuracy, you know, it's just fair enough. And you also want to have that, what do you call it, and you also want to have that extra blight skill chance to make sure that you get the blight against the opponent, because he has 60% blight resistance, the Plague Doctor has 70, so you have pretty much a guaranteed chance of getting blight against everyone, even against other Grave Robbers. Now, the reason I don't agree with that is because in this team, I'm likely going to be using command buff anyway. Every team that I use Stress Grave Robber on, every single variation of it, either be it with Flagellant or with Crusader, but this works better with Crusader. But every single variation I'm going to be using the command, so my characters can actually hit, you know, the leper. So once I do that, the extra 20 accuracy and the monkey spawn already pretty much guarantees that I hit my opponents. The only way it won't guarantee it is if I'm going for an antiquarian, but you know, who cares. And that extra 20% point skill chance really doesn't matter, because you're not supposed to panic towards the Abomination, you're not supposed to panic towards the Plague Doctor, you have a Flagellant for that. You have Punish on your Flagellant, which goes on the Abomination, because look at these resistances. Usually teams have Crusader Abomination, very, very common to see these two characters. If you have a Grave Robber and a Flagellant, what are you gonna do? You're gonna punish the Crusader and blight the Abomination. Of course not, you're gonna go punish on the Abom, and you're gonna blight the Crusader, and everything works out perfectly. You don't need more than 140% blind skill chance. And what do I get from it? I get an extra 4 dodge, I get crit, which is also extra dodge, and I just get to be quite happy. I just get to be quite happy that way, because having the most amount of dodge possible, with the Toxin Trickery too, which I should have dropped but I didn't because I'm a raging buffoon. Or no, I think the Plague Grenade was dropped before Panic Darts. I'm not sure, but I should have dropped the Toxin Trickery already. With a crit you go up to 78 dodge, which is outrageous, because you don't need to spam guards for it. You just need to keep being aggressive, which is exactly what you want. You want to keep being aggressive. So in terms of how this match is going, the thing is, my opponent does not have a way to actually kill my Flagellant here. They don't have a guard break, and they do have one AoE ability. Well, they have two AoE abilities. They have Plague Grenade and they have Hew, but they're never going to kill them with Plague Grenade, because I'm not going to put them in position 3, and they're never going to kill them with Hew, because I'm going to guard them in my position 4 characters. So, you know, my opponent is just kind of screwed here, let's be honest. My Flagellant is able to just keep spamming those reclaims onto the characters that need to live, and eventually, not because the Flagellant needs it, because another character might need it, I will drop the Redeem on someone. So you might be wondering, well, Shep, why did you drop the Reclaim there on the Grave Robber if the Man-at-Arms clearly needs more HP? Well, because the rule of thumb is, reclaim on low max HP characters, redeem on high max HP characters. Look at this Man-at-Arms, he has 50. If I drop a redeem on him, it's gonna heal for like 35 or something. It's gonna be absolutely wild. And that's exactly what I want to go for, so I dropped the Leper down to 0 there. But Shep, wasn't that kind of a useless move, because, you know, the Vessel just heals him? No, he has death or recovery debuffs now. Plus stress taken, minus damage, minus accuracy, very good, I'll take them. He's selfish as well, everything is going perfectly fine for the Shepherd Dog. I'm gonna keep spamming those Panic Darts, most likely onto the Higher Man now, but maybe the Vessel as well, but I think I'm gonna leave these two for last. Of course, the Plague Grenade here is kind of ruining my team, but I can just, you know, do this, heal for 7, and go for another Acclaim here. I'm not forced to drop the Redeem just yet, so I just do this, I drop a Toxin Trickery on the Grave Robber, and everything is perfectly fine. My opponent can't break through. You saw how they hovered the Flagellant there. Oh, he's at this door! Wait, I can't kill him! I don't have a way to break the guard. Yeah, they just noticed that now. Go for the preemptive heal here on the Leper, which, you know, it's just, it's the base game play, right? You preemptively heal your characters in the base game. It's quite funny to see it. I think I am actually going to click and guard. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to click and guard here again. But Shep, again, why are you guarding so many times and not dropping bellows? Look at my prot, it's at 80. But you only have Protector's Kite, which has really mediocre amounts of prot. It only has 5. Yeah, but who cares? I just drop it. I just drop the defenders and I high stack my prot. I stack protection on top of protection. And even though I have low base prot, now I have 50 max HP, 80 prot, and how are you gonna deal with that? Oh, that's juicy. 11, you saw that? Because the transformation buff plus the spiked chain, no crit buff needed. It hurts. It still hurts. It really does. And, you know, because my opponent's dropping so many heals on the Leopard, then I might as well keep dropping the Panic Darts. They can drop heals, but the stress is going up anyway. So there's that. But as you can see, it is quite different from the first team and quite different from the second team in the sense... Oh, you should have dropped Toxin Trickery, you dumbass! I keep forgetting about it. Okay, before I forget it about again, I'm gonna drop the Toxin Trickery now, which at this point is somewhat of a mistake, because I should have dropped it after the Play Grenade drops, but the 15 dodge, it's not gonna hit me anyway. She has Crushed Hemlock, it has 95 accuracy, it's not gonna land, don't worry about it, Chip. Yeah, don't worry about it. See, I get a dodge on there. Wonderful, wonderful. And I don't have Suffer, which would be quite cool in this situation, but since I don't have it, I might actually have to drop a Reclaim here on the Abomination. Now, he did eat quite a big chunk of damage, so let's just do that real quick. And the Man-at-Arms still has a decent amount of regen on him, he should be okay. He's getting all the DOT on me this time around. 2-shoot Wonder. Oh, you'd be a 1-shoot Wonder, that's just a normal person, a 2-shoot Wonder. But yeah, the Man-at-Arms has only 5% blight resistance, so pretty much every single blight that goes this way is gonna stick immediately. And now I think I feel comfortable enough to drop a Bell here. It is gonna reduce that damage as well. Maybe a bit of a display, but I think my prot is still gonna be at 75, so it should be okay to just drop that. And just chill here for a little bit. One thing I should mention is stacking the guard buffs doesn't actually exist with the Man-at-Arms. I did mention this in a semi-recent video, that you cannot stack the guard buffs. Look at that regen, just wonderful. Now I just dropped the pile here. Yeah, it's just nasty. It is nasty when you play these very well sought out teams against you know, people that are probably on their first Butcher Circus match. Oh, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to the novice? This time, oh, Shep, you only hit for 3. How is it possible? I'm at this store. This store is a multiplicative debuff, so it's really gonna hurt my repulse damage. And I do still get to go first, so that actually calls 2 afflictions off of that. Nice. I'm just going to click, go pile again, and go out of this door, pile again. Not have the Death Sword debuff. Oh my god, get another crit, so my damage is actually gonna go up a fair bit, and yeah, it's just such is the way of the Butcher Circus, I guess. Look at all these preemptive heals, they really helped you, didn't they? Yeah, 30 HP Leper against this stress team, surely it will make a difference, yeah, surely. You know, you can heal him out of this store, so he doesn't just die to the collateral damage, but never drop like 2 heals on a character if the enemy's win condition is stress. Like 99% of the time never do that, so they go for that. I could just drop the panic darts here. Sadly it does enough stress, quite sadly. I would like to just... Oh, nah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just drop this, just make him have another heart attack. It's okay, let's just do this. And then we might actually go for the punish here instead of all that. Wait, Shep, all your characters are kinda low HP, why don't you drop the redeem? Once again, redeem is pressure. It's a move that you click when you really need it. I don't really need it right now. It's an active heal. Oh, she moves forward, that's nasty. Moves forward with the irrational. It's an active heal which I wanted to stay active. It's the only active heal I have in this team. The SHEP Stress 3. If you do bring the... Oh, they cause Blight and Bleed with that. If you do bring the... What do you call it? The Crusader variation of it, the Flaze and Stress, and you have the active heal always with your Rally to the Flame, but you know, that's a whole different case. So if I drop a Reclaim here, he will live. He will live. So I think that's what I want to do. Let's drop another Reclaim here. I might have to drop the Redeem later, but for now, we can just keep on reclaiming. I keep bleeding myself despite the extra bleed resistance. There is a chance you don't actually bleed yourself. I'm pretty sure this is a 120. Maybe it's slightly more than 120, I'm not entirely sure. But I did the repulse there, it's okay, I go first next round, I live. The guard stays, but I'm just going to bellow at this point. I don't care too much about the protection anymore. I just want to kill this. I just want to finish this leper off. So he's at 199 stress. Maybe someone stresses him out as he tries moving forward. I don't think moving forward can make anyone stress you out. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But he just moves, and now I could click and bile, and that's a kill. yeah, there's another regen taking just so much value out of the regen. If any of you ever watched like the 6 tips guide for beginners in the Butcher Circus, one of them was the value of regen, one of those tips, and this is just a pure demonstration of how broken regen can be if you don't have a way to deal with it, which my opponent kind of does, but they're not really being able to use it, because if they incision into this, then, they get hit with the repulse, it's not going to do enough base damage to actually bring me down to 0, so it's really not going to counter the regen too much. But I basically, out of one action, I got an extra, like, 3 free actions, and the repulse on top of it. It was quite broken. So I'm going to just drop a Panic Darts here, should be a kill. Oh, it doesn't pay off. The Leather Bandolier, my 10% damage range skills, it doesn't actually apply. Doesn't make me roll for 5 or get the crit, very unfortunately. You get so many crits with Panic Darts. Leather Bandolier, by the way, it's absolutely insane. It's 26.5 just with that. And if you have the command buff on top, which many times you do, it's 30.5. That's 1 every 3 essentially. So here I no longer go first. The guard is going away, so one thing I could just do here is click. Oh no, I can't do it. Oh no, I cannot do it. The guard is... yeah, no, that was silly of me. Okay, I'm going to lose my man at arms here. Whoops. Oh, whoopsie. Tiny misplay. Tiny mishap. You know what? Whatever. Let's lose a flagellant instead. So be it. Let's showcase his healing when he dies. But Shep, it's not him healing. I'm a nerd and I actually listen to what you say, to like the very minute, most meaningless details. And he healed the other characters for 10. No, that's not what happened. Even though he had the healing trinkets for plus healing skills, what actually happens in the code is that the characters heal themselves for 10 when the flagellant dies. They quench their desire for revenge on his own blood and just consume it. The blood that's gonna eventually blight in DD2, but they just consume it and give themselves HP. It's very odd, but it is important, because if you have characters with plus healing skills, it's gonna heal for more. Which is, just weird. I guess that's the way they had to put it into the code to make it work, because if they had it, if the flagellant's already dead, he can't heal other characters, right? That makes sense, right? If he's already dead, it happens again. 4 to 6. I needed to roll for a 5 or a 6 or a crit, and she lives once more. It can be quite annoying to play the Grave Robber, to play with the Grave Robber, which you can see right here. I could have gone for the Highman instead, just take him out, but I feel like with him dropping to this or me getting the battle, he's dead anyway, so... who cares? The heal is definitely good. The Flagellant just has so many things going for him. So many things that could be removed and he could still be good. That's how you know a character is broken, is if you can completely remove something from its kit and it's still a good character and it still gets the W's. But, okay, the Vestal marks herself, because that's my favorite act out. They go for the Divine Grace, which is the correct move here. This time it is actually the correct move, because if they don't, Highman just dies, and your only chance of winning this is... honestly... Do you have Dazzling Light? Yes, my opponent does have Dazzling Light. The only chance of winning this here is to get a very lucky 25% on my Man-at-Arms. Oh god, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. Get a very lucky 25 on my Abomination if I somehow greed and don't go for the heal once he drops with S, or oh dear, no, it's not happening. And then just perma-stun my Grave Robber forever, somehow have your Vestal never move forward with your Masochistic, and get every single 45% stun chance on the Grave Robber. Shep, it's 95, yeah, but after the stun resistance it's 45. So yeah, my opponent doesn't surrender, because that's just what you do. If you... I guess that's good mentality for the Butcher Circus. In the base game you'd surrender to cut your losses, but in Circus you might as well fight it out to the end, right? You can pry victory from my cold dead hands, and at the start it does sound quite cool, but as you age and mature in the Circus, as my opponent has done through these past 9 rounds, you realize that I'm just wasting both our time. So let's go on to the next match. And here we are, straight into match number 4. Nah, just kidding. This is a bot. I was in queue for so long that it actually placed me against the bot. So we're gonna go for this. Do we get the pull? No. GG, unfortunate. And alright, and finally, there we go, into a match number 4. And I actually got a bit of an idea. So this time I'm playing against Dot. Or doesn't appear to have anything there, but in the loading screen it said Dot. That was their name, but probably someone from the Chinese community playing with a funky stun Vestal team in the morning. Quite cool. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, so I actually went into a match against the bot because I think the queue was so long that it just, naturally happened. And, not really too much I can do about it, I guess. But I am going to transform here and go for the slam on the Bounty Hunter. Shep, your opponent misplayed already. They didn't go for the immediate pull on the Occultist. And you misplayed too because you didn't go for the immediate guard on the Occultist. Well, I'm playing a very, very different sort of SHEP Stress number 4. If Silak were here, if Silak is watching, he's gonna be very, very disappointed in me because I'm pretty much playing a carbon copy of SHEP Stress number 1, except I slapped an Occultist on it, which is not how you should play this team, mind you. This team should be played with very defensive men-at-arms, mix Flatulent, and then mix Abomination. That's how it should be played. It shouldn't be played with this amount of offense, because the Occultist is a character that you can't just sacrifice. You can, but you shouldn't sacrifice like you sacrifice a... what do you call it? Like how you sacrifice a doggy. If the doggy drops 3-ounce Ares, it's fine. All he's gonna do all matches drop ounce Ares. Occultist is different. He has the heals for the end of the game. He has the weakening curse for the end of the game. He's a really, really, really good character. And he gets disruption too, so... great character to play around with, and let's be honest, this match is just gonna be a stun fiesta. So I really, really wish I had SHEP Stress number 5. If I had SHEP Stress number 5, GG. Even if with my opponent coming first, GG. I have Arbalest with Snuff, with Flare. They can stun me, doesn't matter. They can only ever have one stun up, because if they have more than one, I flare. If they try to hit me too hard, I heal. All my characters are tanky, and overall just really, really, really fun time. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. So we're gonna have a bit of a different match. So I could have gone for the pull there on the Vestal, put her in position 1, but I decided against it because I'm not used to playing this team. I didn't decide against it because I saw it. No, I only saw it after the display, so... oh dear, if, yeah, 45 minutes of game time and I'm already not on point. Well, it's alright, Shep, don't worry about it, we'll be okay. So, I still pull the Vestal here because it's still the best move. If my opponent moves here with the Bounty Hunter, which they want to do, they also want to drop a come hitter. It's fine for them, but regardless of what they do here, it's not going to be too much fun. Now, what I'm thinking of doing is just maybe not going Ring of Sorrows and going Punish on the Vestal. That is a possibility, but I'm thinking that I also really need to kill this Bounty Hunter. Unfortunate. Really, really, really unfortunate. So my opponent doesn't have one-shots in the situation, but they do have 3 of my characters stunned. Because they're going for the stun here with the Crusader, they're gonna go for the... no, they don't. They actually go for the Harvest first. That's very surprising, actually. Well, I mean, there's not too much I can do about it. I'm pretty much gonna pass this entire turn. I'm not gonna use my Occultist turn either. I'm just gonna drop a Rain of Sorrows here, just to enjoy myself. Very surprised by their decision there. They can't really use this all these stuns they have going because they have the Bounty Hunter in position 4, so they can't use the finish him with the Heart Seeker to do crazy amounts of damage. Looks like my opponent is playing a Halo comp. This is a Halo comp, except instead of an Arbalest they have a Vestal, so they have more stuns than the Halo comp, but they have way less damage as well. So the way they're using to compensate it is by having the Bounty Hunter be more of a damage dealer, which is, quite fair. That's so weird. I would not have done that. That's so risky. 65% chance to actually get it. It makes sense because my Occultist is not in the position to do whatever he wants. He really isn't, but it's still really odd to me that my opponent doesn't just stun the Occultist here, take away a third of his health bar, and get rid of his turn. Guaranteed. I mean, 90% chance to hit. No, guaranteed! They have the Writ of Execution and the Battle Ballad. They also have Sacred Blade in position too, so my opponent deserves to lose this match. That's not where you put it. I daze myself here, which is okay. I was gonna act last anyway. Surprised my opponent doesn't just reposition their characters. But they also don't have caltrops. They have Mark for Death, which I guess they're marking for their own bounty hunter. I think this team is fine. I like the idea, but I wouldn't take Mark for Death. I would take Uppercut in case you end up in position 1, and I would take caltrops, not this still trying to use Mark, because I don't think it's too good. So they actually pull my man-at-arms here, which I very much appreciate, because now I'm able to drop an Abyssal Artillery. Oh, but Shep, your Abomination's in position 4. I couldn't care less. He's safe in position 4. He's gonna de-transform. He's literally gonna self-heal. He's gonna sit in position 4. No biggie. He's just gonna enjoy himself, and everything is gonna be perfectly okay for a good while. That is what we want here. So I could guard, but if I guard, okay, I get stunned. So, hey, why would I guard? Yeah, that's why you bring the numbing instance if you want to guard. I don't even have the guard actually. I have retribution. No, I'm not playing SHEP Stress number 4. This is something dumb I've created. I should not have done it. I should not have done what I am doing here. But you know, it's too late to do anything about it. I have to play with what I have here. Yeah, this team, you should not play it like this. You should have a pretty defensive man-at-arms, you know, kind of a snuff flash on even, make sure you don't get stunned too much. You kind of guard the Occultist if you can. The Abomination has a riposte, and the Occultist, even though he's being guarded, he's not an antiquarian. He's a freaking Occultist. He's on par with the doggy in terms of stress output, except he doesn't have to deal with the shenanigans of the riposte as much, because he can use Demon's Pull, which, wow, my voice cracked. You can use Demon's Pull, which only targets one character. You can use this Artillery, which only targets the backline, so he often doesn't have to worry about their protection as much. And now I might be voluntarily putting myself to death's door here if I do this, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna de-transform self-heal. I could go for the Abyssal Artillery immediately, but I'd rather at this point just play a bit safer and keep my Occultist alive, in case they want to go for a pull into a bunk. At the very least, I will have my weird reconstruction if they try to go for the pull, so I'm gonna act last with my Occultist. I got to go second, which sometimes is a blessing in disguise. Usually you prefer going first, but since I went second, I get the advantage of always being the last one to act, so I always have the final say in the round, so I can always save my heal for last. Of course, my opponent goes first and brings me back to the store, but then after they bring me to the store, I'm able to heal again, unless it's a Crusader. But for some reason, they just go Mace Smash on here, so they have a really cool, well-built team, but they're playing it in a way that I find so odd, really, so odd. They had the team to crush me here, but they're getting crushed themselves, because now the bounty hunter is beyond afflicted. He's at death's door, so next hit I get on him might be collateral damage. The Jester is gonna go afflicted too, so we all know that could go very, very poorly. The Vestal's out of position. The Crusader isn't, you know, he's doing okay, but he's a Crusader, but the rest of his team is like crumbling around him, which is really not what you want. So now they're going to go for the pull on my Occultist, because it looks like they don't know what the move button is. That's just the only explanation. They don't know what the move button is. And here, let's be honest, my Occultist is dead. They're gonna go for the stun at the Crusader, and then it's gonna be Dirk Stab, and, you know, dazed, no guard even. No regen, so, you know, he's just gone. But they go for something else. I don't get it. This is a veteran opponent. Usually veteran opponents are already really, really good, because they have to, if they want to climb, they're either fighting novices or they're fighting darkest players, and with the novices they don't learn too much, but with the darkest players they learn a lot, and usually they watch YouTube videos as well, so, you know, totally not referring to myself there, but usually they watch the YouTube videos and they kind of learn way faster than we did back in the day, because back in the day, the videos that existed for the Butcher's Circus weren't bad, obviously. They were great, they were informative, but the person that did them knew just slightly more than you did about the circus itself, because they still had a lot of that base game, a lot of that base game strategy built into their minds. So my opponent does allow me to have redeem soon, which is really nice, and I have a crit buff, so my reconstruction could heal for more than 0, but it does not. It heals for 0, and yeah, my Occultist is probably going to die. So slot machine, and you know, I basically went all in on the slot machine, and I rolled what do you roll on the slot machine? You roll like... The lucky one is the 777, I think. I must have rolled like a 7, a cherry, and a clover, which none of them match, so it must be nothing, right? Surely that's how it works. I have no idea. I don't play slots or any sort of gambling games. Neither should you. It's not very good for you. But I am getting this Vestal afflicted as well. Selfish might actually be bad for me here because it might move back. Hopefully that's not the case. Quite a big hopefully, but the bounty hunter, what can he do? What can he do is the question. He can get my flagellant out of position, I guess. Yeah, he can get my flagellant super out of position. Because now these two are now the back line, yeah. My front line is in the back line, and my back line is in the front line, and somehow it's not terrible. It wouldn't be terrible if my occultist had healed for literally anything more than 0, but, you know, I'll live with it. I'll live with it, it's okay. If I'm in position for it, my flagellant, he can't be stunned anymore, so it's a plus for me. Maybe my opponent got the, you know, that's a 5% by the way, the chance that you heal for 0. Maybe my opponent got the 5%, so now I get the 40? Or no, actually it's less. But I live. I actually do live here. Oh, I want to be greedy. Oh, I'm gonna do it again. I should not. I should really not, but I'm gonna do it again and I heal for 3. Okay, that's enough. That's good enough. I heal for 3 here. The finale is dangerous, especially with abusive. Oh dear. That is a very dangerous finale they've got there. I could try to slam it. I'm probably gonna try to stun it though. And they go for the mace bash here. It's okay. I'm just going to drop the... Yeah, I'm just going to drop the redeem here. I drop myself down and just drop the redeem. I wanted to drop a bellow first just to reduce the crusader damage so the Holy Lance doesn't bring my flagellant down to like... let's say like 16 HP for this Jester. I'd say that's like the magic number here, because they do have a battle debuff and I do have prot, but you know they have abusive which counters it. So with that amount of damage, it's usually like 18 to 29 on this buff. So against the prot, it's gonna be like 16. Yeah. So if I'm at 16 HP, I'm pretty much guaranteed dead. So the Holy Lance doesn't actually bring me down to this, so because my heal is big enough, and now I'm able to just drop the Beast Vial here in case they want to pull my Abomination, which is great. I don't have to go for a stun anymore, by the way, because now their Chancellor is out of position, can't finale anymore. So really a lot of anti-synergy on my opponent's side. They had a team which is weak to disruption, and I brought the only one out of all these teams that has a double disruption. So you know, you have the Horror Kings, you have the Abomination, the Occultist. And I should say, I should put a special note here. I did mention Salak, but he is the one that really popularized this team. He played it in the tournament, and I believe he went 10-0 with it. He lost the tournament, by the way, to me as well. But I believe he went 10-0 with his own variation of this team. Of course, a lot of those matches were really close. One of them was against me too. But he did do phenomenally with this team, because it's really nice. It has all the strengths that the basic SHEP Stress has with that insane stress output, but it also has other stuff. It has heals on the occultist. It has possibilities of going for Stygian Embrace. If you're the last character alive, you can still use Weakening Curse and deal better with flagellants. You have the Abyssal Artillery and Demon's Pulse, which are both like amazing moves, so you have a lot going for you. So at this point, you know, there's really not too much I can do. I only 3 of my characters are dazed, so all I can do is use the bell here. If none of my characters were dazed, what I wanted to do was just drop a heal with my own occultist, because now I have character advantage, and they don't have stuns either. So, I mean, they do have stuns, but they've all been out of position for a while. So if I had the possibility, I would have just gone for it. And my opponent actually misplays here. Why? Because they had already dropped the Hand of Light, and they're buffing their Death Blow dealt chance, but it's only for the melee skills. This is not a melee skill. This is a melee skill, and I actually have both of them, so they could have gone for the Mace Smash there, very likely gotten the kill. But because they didn't do that, I'm able to just freely heal myself here and just stay alive way longer than I ever should have with this occultist. And you know, by this point the match is completely over, obviously, but if you're playing the team my opponent has, you need to get a kill by like round 2-3. against a team like this. Maybe round 4 would be okay if I have all the defensive stuff. If I have all the defensive stuff, you get a kill by round 4, it might still be okay because I probably spent a lot of turns like guarding, regenning, healing, disrupting, and not going for pistol artilleries and all that, but you know, the way I'm playing this, then you definitely need to get the kill quite early, and the fact that you didn't even get a kill, it's usually a sacrifice that you do with the stress teams. You sacrifice your stress team, your character, to get tempo, essentially. Like, you know, your character does like Hound Harry, then you lick wounds, then your opponent hits you again, you regen out of the store, you harry, so you're getting like an extra turn, and then your opponent spends another turn to bring him down to 0, another turn to kill him, and that one misses, by the way, because, for example, the doggy has monkey spawn, you know, just an example, and because of that, then the next one fails the death store check, and only then do you actually get the kill, and then all this time all the other characters are just doing stress at the enemy's side. So that is one way to do it, that is the most fun way to do it, or you can just see it in more of a way of I'm gonna make it so my opponent can't kill one of my characters, that's immortal teams, or I'm gonna make it so my opponent has a really hard time killing one of my characters, and by the time they do eventually kill the character, if it does go their way, by the time they do eventually kill their character, I've dealt enough stress to be pretty much winning. So that's usually what you try to go for. So that would be kind of like a tortoise team, which is this one usually, and this SHEP Stress number 2, and also SHEP Stress number 5, which is going to be next, which would get a free win against this, but it's quite unlikely that I play against this player again, so I won't be able to showcase how much easier it would have been. My opponent never should have lost this match, let's be honest. They just misplayed horrendously. They had a very cool team, very well designed, probably copied the way they played it, or they're just starting it out. Or they were a bit, maybe they were a bit surprise Pikachu phase, because they were getting disrupted and not doing the disruption today, so they usually play against the stress team and they're like, oh, all they have is AoEs, I'll just stun them. And like, wait, my characters are being put out of position? No, that's my bounty hunter's job, what the hell, why is my vessel in first, why is my bounty hunter in fourth? And they were just unable to do anything. SHEP, if they had caltrops, would have they won this match? No, it would have been worse, actually. It would have been worse, most likely, because they might have accidentally activated one of my redeems earlier, and that would have been really bad, honestly. Yeah, really terrible, because if that happened, then I just get a free heal to my occultist out of this store, and, you know, he survives for another 2 turns, and yeah, by that point, really not too much you can do anymore, and really not too much my opponent can do anymore. The heart attack on both characters, and then the death of the vessel caused the occultist the Crusader take more stress, and then the horror wiped them out. So let's go for match number 5. Well, it would appear that the buffoon is flummoxed, and there is justice in this world, because I get to face my opponent again, and this time I countered their team perfectly too. They still have the exact same setup. I wonder if they played a little bit better this time. Is it the exact same setup? Yeah, exact same. Did not learn. Did not learn to change it yet, and I get to go first as well, so I could preemptively guard my Arbalest so she doesn't get pulled, but I mean, I have Snuff, so I'm hoping it doesn't happen. Emphasis on hoping it doesn't happen, but it's gonna be transform into push on the Bounty Hunter. SHEP, push the Crusader instead, he's gonna go to position 3 or he can't stun you. No, don't do that. If you do that, he Holy Lances you, gets a crit on your Abomination, you lose the match on the spot. So personally, I wouldn't do that. I'd rather make the Bounty Hunter, or rather, I'd rather force the Bounty Hunter to a position where he has to move if he wants to, you know, remain active. And what does that accomplish? What does that accomplish? Now you can't stun anyone with your Crusader, unless you want to go for. Unless you want to go for Zealous value, I suppose, but that's very odd. That is quite odd indeed. Now, my opponent has a hell of a lot of dodge here. I have Reclaim this time around, so my team is not as aggressive. The Bellow is not a great idea here. SHEP, what are you doing? Why are you going Bolster against the damage team? Because they can't really use the Battle Ballad, and I'm hoping that the anti-stress against the Zealous and the potential extra 10 dodge I have might make a bit of a difference here. It just might let me like dodge one ability, it might let me take a little bit less stress, and they just see the bolster. It already had value. They saw the bolster, they saw the anti-stress, numbing instance, gone to the VAP solution. Nothing you can do against this team with the Zealous Accusation, so they saw that with the bolster, they went for the stun, and you can't stun this front line, it's just unstunnable. And I also have Flare here in the back, so no, you really, really can't stun this front line. So at this point I just have to go for a very sad move with the... Oh, a sad move with the Flashbomb, I say, but no, not only do I hit my punish with the exotic snuff, I get a crit, and I get a bleed on the Crusader with the 70% base bleed resistance. And because my opponent doesn't have an Arbalist, now their Bounty Hunter is down to like 40% HP, and their Crusader is also going to be down to like 20% HP or something. It is quite whack. So I am taking a lot of DOT here on my, what do you call them, on my Abomination already, but I don't really mind. I'm just gonna do this. I think for the meantime it's okay. There is a choice between going Suppressing Fire and going Sniper Shot on your Arbalist. I think for the Immortal Musketeer you definitely have to go for Aimed Shot and not the Smoke Screen, but for this team you're fine dropping it. You're fine having Suppressing Fire. Very decent ability if you find any other stress teams. It's definitely gonna help you out if you get the debuffs. You know, those debuffs are really nice. Plus stress taken, minus stress dealt. It makes like Hound's Airy do 7 stress if you don't have a Crimson Hook on it. If you like stack 1 or 2 of those debuffs, it is kind of whack. But yeah, they go for the stun here on the Flashbomb, even though they have double stun trinkets. That's exotic snuff value, baby. I have the crit, and watch this. I have the crit, I have the transformation buff, and I have the spike chain. I dare you to hit this Abomination. I dare you to hit him. It is not going to go well for you. It is really not going to go well for you. And yeah, this is the end of our journey. It has been 4 SHEP stress teams. We're finally here with the Arbalist with my baby blue 99.1%. That's a Breaking Bad reference. And the Jester is just trying to Dirkst my Flashbomb here, just doing some damage, looking for the finale. He's not gonna get it. He's definitely not gonna get it. I'm not gonna give it to him. Not for free. Definitely not for free. I still have heals, I still have all the good shenanigans that I love, and I did get to go first as well, which, oh, it's just wonderful, isn't it? It really is just wonderful. So I'm dropping Velos here to reduce my opponent's damage even more, so the Crusader doesn't really hurt me whatsoever. He's still gonna do a bit of damage, but he's gonna go for the Stunning Blow. Does he get it this time? It's a 30, he doesn't get it. This is why you always run Sacred Blade to Brass Knuckles, by the way. Don't run with this Rite of Execution PS. Unless you have a team like set up to use the Zealous as like a really proper secondary win condition. Like if you're using command buffs to make this thing hurt, like sure, go for it. But otherwise, if your plan is to start the Crusader and your team really wants you to start that Crusader, go Brass Knuckles. Especially if you already have Battle Ballad for the accuracy. Who cares about the what do you call it? Ooh, do this. Who cares about the extra 10% damage that also works on the Zealous and the 8 accuracy, and you know, the stress dealt, death dealt chance. That extra 20% stun chance is massive. It wins or loses the match for you, so just bring it. So they move forward here, allow themselves to have a Holy Lance, and I just preemptively healed the Flashbomb for minimum HP, so you know, whatever. Shep, you just said like 40 minutes ago not to preemptively heal. Okay, that was against the stress team. This does that get annoying actually, me imagining to be a clueless viewer with my voice. Does that get annoying? I find that to be quite enjoyable when I say it. I think it's funny. I think it's a funny sort of humor, but does it get annoying that I'm like, Shep, you just said to not do that? But yeah, at this point, you can actually just drop preemptive heals here. This is another very weird reference, but in that same tournament I mentioned, like in the very first match, I did a misplay, which I still remember. I did a misplay. I was playing with a Vestal stress team, So definitely not one of the SHEP Stress ones. Oh, no, actually it was a tournament after, because, yeah, if I was playing with a Vestal, it was a tournament after. But I was playing with that Vestal Stress team, just not having a good time with it. And one of the misplays I did was just trying to use her stuns too much and not using her heals too much, because I was playing against a damage team, everything was going fine. The only problem I had is that my Abomination was kinda low HP. I had a crit buff on my Vestal, I dropped a stun the previous round, I didn't have any good stun targets, so I could have either dropped a preemptive heal and kind of made my position more stable, or I could have tried to win harder, going for a risky stun. You don't have to win harder in the Butcher Circus. If you're already winning, don't be risky, just go for the safe move. If you're losing, be risky. That's kind of how it goes. You need to create chaos if you're losing, and you need to just make sure the match is stable, make sure you know, do just calm Butcher Circus plays if you're already winning. So I might go for the heal here on the Abomination, just so he doesn't, you know, quote unquote bleed out as much. So I do another min heal. I mean, fine, sure, whatever. And my Arbalest does have 20 prot because of the medic's full plate, so I'm not really worried about a finale being dropped on her anytime soon. She's just perfectly fine, and it's round 3. I haven't done too much to my opponent's team, but it's okay. What I'm actually going to do here is transform and pass. That's most likely what I'm going to do. Transform, pass, just to apply the horror. That's really what I'm going to do here. I could just pile instead and do some damage to the bounty hunter, but he's going down to this anyway, so I don't have to. If he had like 4 DOT on him, sure, I would just pile here again. Yeah, they go for it's useless. It's useless. There's nothing they can do in this situation. It feels so good because this is actually a good team, and this time they're actually playing reasonably better. So there's really nothing they can do this time around because they've learned. It feels like they've learned what my plans are and what their team can do, but. It's just really not going too well for them because now they're going against something that hard counters the team they have. You know, they're trying to abuse me with stuns. Probably saw the video where I had like the triple stun. They're like, you know what, let's do that, but let's bring a Jester because Jester's cool. And, you know, maybe that's it, maybe that's not. Maybe I'm just giving myself too much value, but, you know, it's okay. So I could drop a redeem here on the Man-at-Arms, but it only has 15 prot actually. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. I'm not in risk of getting stunned here with my Flagellant because I still have the Arbalest, so I'm fine. The only way I could get stunned here on the Flagellant is if they go for the pull, but then they put themselves at Destroy. It's not enough damage. It's not even close to enough damage. I know the values, and my opponent surrenders. Yeah, they saw the 15 prot. That was like their chance, but no, not even with a crit. It would have been enough. They had like what, 3 buffs. Maybe with a crit. Maybe with a crit it would have been enough actually if they had 3 buffs, but maybe they only had 2. It was round 4, so they must have had 3 buffs. Yeah, they went for the crit finale. They did go for the Jammy Man finale, but, you know, honestly, cool. I feel like there really weren't too many things left for them to do, especially with the reclaim being dropped on there. After that, what was going to happen is I was actually going to guard the Flagellant, and then it would be complete GG. My Abomination's full HP. Even though he's stunned, he's full HP. The Arvel still stays safely in the back. Flagellant, almost full HP, guarded. Man-at-Arms with regen, almost full HP. I mean, maybe not almost full HP, but decent amount of HP, like 35, brought 45 because of the guard, and, you know, numbing instance, really nothing that my opponent could do. They also got unlucky with the stuns, let's keep that in mind. They failed the Vestal stun they went for. They also tried for a couple, like, 50-50s on my Flagellant, or not really 50-50s, it was a 35, but they tried for that and it didn't work. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed today's showcase of the 5 SHEP stresses. Let me know which one is your favorite, which one you play with the most, which one you load the most, which one you get the most wins with, and which one is, no, I think I mentioned all this already, but anyway, I'll see you again another time. Cheers!